And we have in the studio the Director of Public Relations of the Ghana National Fire Service, ACFO Timothy Osafo-Affum, to further explain to us what necessitated the upward figures of outbreak in the first half of the year. Good afternoon, ACFO Timothy.
Good afternoon.
And thank you so much for joining us on News Hour. So we had these figures, and it shows us there's an upward, rise in the number of figures recorded in this first half. What accounted for these upward figures?
Various reasons, but the main of these reasons is the severe harmattan we experienced during the early stages of this year, and so it increased the rate of bushfires in the system, thereby increasing the numbers. Then aside that, we have migration. People migrate from the villages to the towns and cities. When they come, they don't have places to live, and therefore they find themselves in the shanty areas. Mm-hmm. And so fires in these areas have also increased, because when they come, they get a kiosk and then get themselves electricity. Exactly. However, they don't get in touch or contact the qualified electricians. Anybody that can fix the light for them, they go for it because that is cheaper. Others include old wiring that needs to be changed, as well as earthing systems that are faulty. All these accounted for the slight increase that we have seen. So
which region topped the chart?
Yes, like the statistics indicated, is the Ashanti region. However, within the fire service, we have two administrative regions for the Greater Accra regions. We have the Tema region and we have the Greater Accra region. So if you put the two together, then political Accra exceeds that of Ashanti region. But however, because we have segregated the two, Accra into two regions, that is why you see it that way.
So if Ashanti topped the charts of fire outbreaks recorded in the country during the first half, is it that they are not adhering to safety campaign messages? What accounted for that? Why did they top the chart?
We are talking here attitudinal change. People are still not too serious with fire safety education. Because Ashanti region, we know, because over the past years, they have been leading, and therefore more efforts were put in there to ensure that at least if they are not at par with Greater Accra, they will be at least lower. But unfortunately, they are still leading. And so, which means we have to redouble our efforts. But in redoubling our efforts, you see, fire prevention, firefighting does not only depend on the fire service. It's a collaborative effort between the service and the general public and our major stakeholders. So if the general public or any of our major stakeholders is not up and doing, then it affects our operations.
So you launched your safety week a few months ago, and you touched on minimizing fire outbreaks by 60% by December this year, and if possible, eliminate it. We want one day we wake up and for the whole year we've not recorded any fire outbreaks in the country. So what measures have you put in place, or are you putting in place, or are in place to achieve the set target?
Right. Thank you very much. As human beings, and especially as Africans, we always use fires in all our endeavors. So fires cannot be zero. We cannot record zero fires. However, what we are saying is that when we look at the rate of increase, we want to reduce that rate by 60%. And that one, we are working towards that. Now, measures in place. We are still intensifying our efforts at sensitizing the general public on what to do and what not to do. And even when you have done everything and the fires occur, how you can quickly get in touch with us so that we'll be there on time to save your property from destruction. And so we have series of programs that we are going to roll out before the close of the year, and we are sure to achieve our target.
So now, finally, before you go, let's talk about safety precautions. Let's talk about home, offices, anywhere, marketplaces, anywhere we find us. Can you give advice on how we could stay safe without getting our, wherever we work, our homes, our marketplaces getting burned? So,
let me start from the market. In the market, most often what starts the fires are those who use heat in the market, especially those using charcoal as a form of heat for their products. When they finish using the coal pot, it is important that the charcoal in the pot is poured out and then water is poured on it to ensure that the charcoal is completely extinguished. Then also what we have realized is that most often they forget that the ash also contains embers of fire. And therefore, when there is any wind, slight wind that lifts the embers, wherever they fall, they start fire. And so it is important that as you put off the charcoal itself, you also put off the ashes so that any embers in there are extinguished. Then again is improper wiring in the markets. We are urging our market women especially that if you need to extend an electricity to your shop, ensure that you get the qualified electrician to do that for you. And who is the qualified electrician? When the person comes, ask him to show you his Energy Commission issued certificate. Okay. When you get those people, because if you don't work well, Energy Commission will take your certificate from you. And therefore, such are those who qualify to do what is expected to be done. Now, in our homes, most often, and especially in the slums, what we have realized is that anytime there is light out, they tend to use candles, but they are unable to use it properly. Now, the proper use of candle is this. Find a ceramic bowl or a metal plate, put water in it, and then let the candle stand. Once it is standing and you light it, even if you have a child and the child is going to play with the candle, once the candle falls, it falls into the water and there is no problem. So we encourage everybody that if you are using candle, ensure that you put it in either in a ceramic bowl or in a metallic plate and put water under it, so that if there should be any exigency, the candle will just fall into the water and it will not light. In our homes too, most often we tend to use air conditioners. These air conditioners, if you are not home or you are stepping out, just turn it off. Because most often if power goes off and is restored, it is either the power will come at a higher current or at a lower current. If it comes at a lower current, that one is no problem. But if it comes at a higher current, then it will in turn spark a fire, and that will be the beginning of a fire in your home. Other electrical gadgets that are not supposed to be on, we are to ensure that we turn them off and unplug. Sometimes our switches have developed faults and we don't know. So you may think that you have turned it off, but power is still flowing in. And therefore you need to, once you turn it off, you need to unplug to ensure that you are completely safe. The last one I'll speak about is the use of LPG. You know, now most of us are on LPG.
Exactly.
And the proper use of it. Most often, when we are going to fill, you need to let them change the washer. There is a black rubber at the top.
But it seems like they almost always change when you're going to refill your cylinder.
Now, what is happening, the truth on the ground is that the new washers that have come are not of quality. Okay. So anytime you go, let them change it for you. 2 cedis, because of 2 cedis, exactly. You don't burn your house. All right. So once that is done, then you are sure that there is no leakage from your cylinder into the kitchen. But anytime you are coming to use the stove, gas stove, ensure that you open your kitchen up for about 5 minutes. The reason why is if there should be any leakage in the kitchen, then fresh air will come and dilute the gas, so that if you strike your match, it does not catch fire in the whole kitchen. Okay.
So thank you so much. But then, you know, the country has recorded a number of fire outbreaks, and it seems like we almost always don't get your reports. So we the journalists, we can't report that there's a fire outbreak here at Makola, anywhere that we hear of, then we don't get the report to know what exactly happened. And so far, you've been talking about electricity. Is that the main cause of fire outbreaks in the country?
Most domestic incidents are as a result of electricity. Now, talking about fire reports, every fire has an owner, because every property has an owner.
Sure.
So the report is issued to the owner, and it's up to the owner to make it public or to keep it to himself. What we do is that we incorporate our findings into educational programs to ensure that people don't repeat same mistake to bring another fire.
Okay, and that's it for now. Thank you so much, ACFO Timothy Osafo-Affum, and he is the Director of Public Relations of the Ghana National Service. Thank you so much for the insights.